Power belongs to those who understand the mind, not merely the sword. Those who speak too freely, who reveal their thoughts and intentions, hand their strength to others. Silence is not weakness, it is a shield, a trap, a strategy. When you reveal nothing, the world cannot touch you, yet it exposes itself willingly. Every word left unspoken, every secret held close, becomes your advantage. Today, I will teach you the art of concealment, the subtle mastery that turns observation into power, and ensures that while you remain unreadable, others lay bare their very intentions before you. In the pursuit of power, speech is a weapon as dangerous as it is useful. To master influence and control, one must first understand that words, though seemingly harmless, are often the instruments of one's own undoing. The individual who speaks too freely exposes the patterns of thought, the hidden intentions, and the vulnerabilities that others can exploit. To reveal too much is to offer an invitation for manipulation, to place oneself within the reach of schemes that could otherwise be avoided. Silence, on the other hand, is armor. It shields the mind from scrutiny and transforms the observer into the one who holds dominion over knowledge. Those who speak sparingly are rarely underestimated, for others are left to project their fears, assumptions, and expectations upon them, often revealing truths that were never intended to be known. In the delicate dance of human interaction, to remain unreadable is to occupy the higher ground. Every word carries weight and consequence. Each phrase uttered risks, constructing a map of one's inner workings that rivals can navigate with precision. By contrast, those who cultivate silence force the world into speculation, creating a landscape where others reveal themselves in their attempts to interpret, to probe, and to understand. In every encounter, the unspoken communicates more than the spoken. When one refrains from unnecessary speech, a subtle tension is created. The minds of others, desperate to fill the void, often betray their motives, ambitions, and fears, unwittingly disclosing the very strategies they believe to be concealed. Silence compels honesty in others, because human nature abhors uncertainty. People speak to reassure themselves, to assert dominance, to manipulate, and to test boundaries. In this manner, silence is not merely a passive absence of sound. It is an active instrument of psychological control. The one who speaks less may be perceived as detached or superior, but in truth, this perception is precisely the advantage sought. It fosters caution in others, prevents premature disclosure, and allows the silent observer to calculate with clarity and patience. In strategy, timing is paramount. Words spoken at the wrong moment can unravel carefully laid plans, alert opponents to intentions, or provoke unforeseen consequences. Silence ensures that actions, rather than declarations, define reality. When one masters the art of silence, one gains the rare ability to separate perception from truth. Observers form judgments based on incomplete information, and these judgments are predictable, manipulable, and exploitable. The silent individual can thus navigate social and political landscapes with minimal resistance, understanding the ambitions and fears of others without offering insight into their own. Furthermore, the restraint of speech cultivates respect and authority. Those who are measured in their communication are often regarded as wise, deliberate, and powerful, irrespective of their actual position. This cultivated aura of mystery enhances influence and positions the silent as an arbiter of information and decision. The strategic use of silence also creates leverage in negotiation and conflict. By withholding response, one can gauge intentions, provoke disclosure, and assess the strength of opposition without revealing vulnerabilities. The careful management of words transforms ordinary dialogue into a tool of dominance, where the silent observer guides the interaction while remaining largely invisible within it. In essence, silence is the foundation upon which the architecture of power is built. It demands discipline, foresight, and patience, but it yields control, insight, and influence in proportions far exceeding that of those who speak without calculation. In the theater of human affairs, those who have mastered the art of silence rarely lose because they understand that true strength lies not in the declaration of thought, but in the concealment of it in the strategic. Withholding that turns curiosity, anxiety, and ambition in others into instruments of their own design. To wield power effectively, one must first learn the discipline of observation. For human behavior is a tapestry of motives, desires, and fears, each thread visible to the attentive eye. Confession, whether of weakness, intention, or strategy, is the surrender of control, the laying bare of one's inner landscape to those who may exploit it. Those who reveal too much, even unintentionally, invite manipulation and betrayal, for human nature thrives on advantage. The prudent individual refrains from disclosure, understanding that truth is a currency often spent unwisely. Instead, the power of the observer lies in perception, in the ability to discern patterns, predict actions, and interpret signals that others assume are invisible. Every glance, hesitation, and word uttered by others carries information. Those who confess freely reveal themselves not only to friends, but, more dangerously, to rivals. In contrast, the one who watches silently gains insight into the true character of those around them. Human beings are seldom consistent. Intentions are masked, emotions are feigned, and agendas are hidden beneath layers of politeness or bravado. To confess is to navigate this complexity blindly, exposing oneself to misjudgment and exploitation. Observation, however, allows for clarity, revealing both the overt and the subtle, the declared and the concealed. By remaining inscrutable, the observer creates a mirror in which others inadvertently reflect their inner workings. The desire to be understood, to influence, or to manipulate compels individuals to disclose information that, were they cautious, would remain hidden. In every interaction, there is a silent exchange of power. Those who confess to readily relinquish theirs, while those who observe retain the advantage. The eyes and ears of the attentive gather intelligence without risk. For silence shields the observer from retaliation, scrutiny, or the revealing consequences of misjudged honesty. Moreover, observation requires the mastery of patience and the suspension of judgment. Human motives often unfold slowly, hidden beneath layers of habit, expectation, and fear. The observer must discern the signal from the noise, reading between the lines, interpreting gestures, and understanding that appearances are frequently deceptive. By withholding confession, one maintains the freedom to act with precision, to strike or negotiate at a moment of one's choosing, rather than being constrained by words already spoken. Silence, coupled with observation, becomes a formidable strategy, for it transforms knowledge into power and knowledge unshared into leverage. Those who reveal themselves prematurely are predictable. Those who confess are bound by the expectations of others, limited in maneuver, and vulnerable to manipulation. Observation, by contrast, is the cultivation of advantage, the accumulation of insight that can be deployed with effect when the moment is opportune. In political, social, and personal arenas alike, the observer learns the strengths and weaknesses of allies and adversaries alike, noting where ambition may outstrip ability, where fear may dictate action, and where deceit is employed to mask inadequacy. In this practice, one discovers that confession is rarely necessary, for the world's truths are often revealed by those who underestimate the power of silence. Those who confess openly, in their desire to appear virtuous or cooperative, surrender control, while those who merely observe maintain influence over the unfolding narrative. The discipline of observation also fosters clarity of mind. By focusing on external realities rather than internal justification, the observer avoids the distortions of self-interests and emotional bias. Each interaction becomes a study in cause and effect. Each conversation an opportunity to discern motives, test loyalties, and measure resolve. In this way, the act of not confessing is not merely passive restraint, but an active strategy of engagement. Knowledge gained through observation allows the individual to act decisively, to anticipate deception, and to manipulate circumstances to one's advantage. By refraining from confession, the observer maintains independence, control, and leverage, ensuring that the secrets of others become the tools of their own mastery. In the pursuit of influence and control, one must understand the delicate balance between appearance and reality. To appear transparent is to encourage trust, to project honesty, openness, and predictability. Yet true power resides in what remains hidden, in the opaque recesses of intention and thought. The wise individual understands that perception is often more consequential than reality, and that the world judges by what it sees, not by what it cannot. To cultivate an image of transparency is to lull others into comfort, to encourage them to lower their guard, while the observer retains the ability to act with discretion and strategy. When one appears open, accessible, and predictable, people are inclined to speak freely, to confide, and to reveal their motives, believing that the environment is safe for disclosure. It is in these moments that the opaque nature of the strategic mind asserts its advantage, absorbing information while concealing its own designs. The skill lies in presenting just enough to reassure, to persuade, and to guide perception, without relinquishing control or divulging true intent. Humans are naturally curious, and when given a semblance of openness, they are drawn to probe, to test, and to share what they might otherwise withhold. The individual who masters the art of appearing transparent harnesses this tendency, creating a scenario in which others expose themselves while the observer remains inscrutable. This practice requires subtlety, discipline, and an acute awareness of human psychology. Overexposure, even when intended to create trust, can lead to vulnerability. Insufficient transparency may arouse suspicion and resistance. The strategic mind navigates this terrain with precision, offering glimpses of clarity, while masking the mechanisms that guide decisions and actions in relationships, politics, and negotiations. Those who are fully understood are rarely in control, for predictability allows others to anticipate moves, exploit weaknesses, and manipulate outcomes. Opaqueness, by contrast, maintains flexibility, freedom, and dominance. One must learn to craft an image that satisfies curiosity, without satisfying it completely, to project openness without forfeiting secrecy. The appearance of transparency serves as camouflage, obscuring the true objectives that operate beneath the surface. Actions, gestures, and carefully chosen words are designed to reinforce this illusion, to encourage the perception that nothing is hidden, even when every intention is guarded. In every interaction, the observer benefits from the assumptions of others, who believe they understand motives, plans, and loyalties. This false sense of certainty compels disclosure, shapes behavior, and allows the strategic mind to maneuver unseen. Moreover, appearing transparent cultivates credibility. People trust those who seem honest and predictable, yet they respect those who maintain a sense of depth and subtlety. Opaqueness is not suspicion. It is controlled ambiguity, an element of unpredictability that prevents manipulation and preserves autonomy. To be opaque is to operate outside the expectations of others, to make choices without the constraints imposed by premature understanding. The combination of perceived transparency and maintained opacity produces a powerful dynamic. The observer is trusted, influential, and persuasive, yet remains invulnerable to the schemes, assumptions, and calculations of others. Every revelation offered to the world is measured, every gesture intentional, designed to reinforce the perception of openness while securing the strategic advantage of hidden knowledge. In this way, mastery of appearance versus reality becomes a tool of domination, a method of acquiring insight, guiding behavior, and ensuring that while others believe they see clearly, they are, in fact, revealing themselves. The delicate balance between being understood and being unreadable allows the individual to navigate complex, social and political environments with unparalleled efficiency, leveraging perception to uncover truth while safeguarding intentions and converting the curiosity, confidence, and complacency of others into instruments of control. Curiosity is a force more powerful than brute strength, more revealing than deception, and more controllable than loyalty. Those who understand human nature know that curiosity compels individuals to act against their own discretion, to expose secrets, intentions, and weaknesses without conscious awareness. The one who can manipulate this natural tendency wields an extraordinary advantage, for human beings are innately drawn to what is hidden, mysterious, or forbidden. To leverage curiosity is to position oneself as the keeper of secrets, the orchestrator of uncertainty, and the subtle provocateur of revelation. The world cannot resist the lure of the unknown. It is a compulsion that leads to confession, disclosure, and the unmasking of true motives. Every hint, every suggestion, every carefully crafted ambiguity becomes a tool, drawing others into a psychological trap in which they reveal far more than they intend. The strategic individual understands that information is power, Yet information does not need to be seized by force. It may be obtained through careful orchestration, through the artful design of situations where others, in their curiosity, betray themselves. People speak to fill gaps in knowledge, to resolve uncertainty, and to gain perceived advantage, unaware that their eagerness to uncover the hidden may itself be exploited. By remaining inscrutable and offering partial glimpses of knowledge or intention, the observer stimulates inquiry, compelling others to act in ways that disclose their character, plans, and vulnerabilities. The subtle manipulation of curiosity requires patience and foresight. One must carefully calibrate what is revealed and what remains concealed, for too much provocation may arouse suspicion, while too little fails to engage the inquisitive instinct. The ideal is a controlled tension, an irresistible question whose answer lies not with the observer but in the actions and confessions of those seeking it. In this dynamic, the observer is never the one revealing. Rather, they are the conductor of a psychological orchestra, where each note played by others is a disclosure of intent and ambition. History demonstrates that those who underestimate the potency of curiosity often fall victim to it. Spies, politicians, and strategists who fail to recognize the ease with which people betray themselves are frequently out-hot and outwitted. Conversely, those who cultivate the ability to guide inquiry without yielding substance acquire a nearly absolute advantage. By leveraging curiosity, one transforms passive observation into active intelligence, turning the inquisitiveness of others into actionable knowledge. This practice also enhances control over social and political interactions. When others believe they are gaining insight, when they imagine they are the hunters of secrets, they are, in reality, performing the work of the observer, offering the very details needed for strategy, manipulation, and influence. Curiosity can be provoked by questions, insinuations, gestures, or the careful withholding of information. Each interaction is an opportunity to channel this natural inclination, to create situations where disclosure becomes inevitable, and where trust, suspicion, and desire to know drive others into revealing their own intentions. Furthermore, leveraging curiosity cultivates an aura of power and mystery. Those who seem to possess knowledge yet reveal it sparingly are perceived as influential, wise, and commanding. Their restraint in sharing information heightens the curiosity of others, who in turn engage in actions that expose motivations, alliances, and weaknesses. By mastering this principle, the observer turns the impulses of others into instruments of strategy, converting their need to understand, uncover, or predict into a source of intelligence that enhances control and strengthens position. In this way, curiosity is not merely a trait to be observed. It is a force to be directed, harnessed, and amplified, producing insights that no direct inquiry could achieve, and creating advantages that extend far beyond the immediate, moment-shaping outcomes, relationships, and the balance of power. In the realm of power, knowledge is not merely strength. It is influence, leverage, and often survival itself. To control the flow of information is to dictate the perceptions, decisions, and behaviors of those around you. Every piece of knowledge that passes through your hands, whether spoken, written, or implied, carries potential advantage, and every disclosure carries risk. The one who governs what is seen, heard, and believed occupies the highest position in any arena, for perception shapes reality as much as action does. Human beings are creatures of narrative. They interpret the world based on the information available to them, and when that information is filtered, curated, or manipulated, their understanding and, thus their behavior can be directed. The strategic mind recognizes that information, like wealth or territory, can be hoarded, released selectively, or withheld entirely to achieve advantage. In every social, political, or professional context, the person who controls what others know also controls the possibilities of action and reaction. Disclosure must always be deliberate. Revealing too much exposes vulnerabilities, limits maneuverability, and provides ammunition to rivals. Revealing too little may breed suspicion or mistrust. The master of information navigates this delicate balance with precision, allowing just enough to create confidence, guide decisions, and provoke revelation, while retaining the majority of power hidden beneath the surface. Control of information also creates leverage in negotiation and strategy. When others perceive knowledge that is incomplete or filtered, they are compelled to act cautiously, to speculate, or to disclose their own intentions in an effort to compensate for their uncertainty. This dynamic allows the observer to anticipate moves, influence outcomes, and manipulate situations without overt confrontation. Every interaction becomes a mechanism for testing loyalty, revealing ambition, or assessing competence, provided that the information presented is carefully managed. The subtle manipulation of communication, whether through words, gestures, timing, or emphasis, can shape the understanding of allies and adversaries alike by guiding what is known and unknown. The strategist creates a framework in which the behavior of others aligns with their objectives without direct imposition. Moreover, controlling the flow of information builds a reputation of authority and foresight. When individuals perceive that one possesses insight others do not, that knowledge is not freely given. They attribute wisdom, competence, and power to the holder. This perception alone enhances influence, creating a psychological advantage that amplifies every strategic decision. In practice, this control extends beyond the deliberate withholding or release of information. It includes the framing of narratives, the timing of revelations, and the prioritization of what is emphasized versus what is ignored. Even silence is information, as its presence or absence communicates intention and attention. The skilled strategist recognizes that what is not said often carries as much weight as what is declared, and uses absence as a tool to direct inquiry, provoke curiosity, and manipulate action. Furthermore, by controlling information, one prevents rivals from consolidating their own power based on accurate or comprehensive knowledge. Misunderstandings, assumptions, and misperceptions become instruments of advantage, shaping decisions and alliances in ways that benefit the observer. The ability to manage information allows one to remain steps ahead, to anticipate challenges, and to exploit opportunities while others remain constrained by incomplete or distorted understanding. Ultimately, mastery of the flow of information transforms ordinary interaction into strategic engagement. The observer becomes both architect and conductor of the social and political environment, shaping perception, guiding action, and extracting intelligence, all while remaining largely concealed. Knowledge thus becomes a currency of influence, and control of its dissemination ensures that the balance of power consistently tilts in favor of the one who wields it with skill, foresight, and restraint, transforming uncertainty into advantage, curiosity into revelation, and every disclosure into a tool for strategic dominance. In the pursuit of power, secrets are not merely possessions. They are instruments of influence, shields against vulnerability, and catalysts for opportunity. Those who understand the mechanics of human behavior recognize that what is hidden often contains more value than what is revealed. Knowledge kept close, intentions undisclosed, and strategies concealed create a reservoir of leverage from which the prudent individual can draw at will. Secrets, whether personal, political, or strategic, are inherently potent because they introduce uncertainty into the minds of others. Uncertainty breeds caution, hesitation, and often mistakes. And in these moments, the individual who controls secrets holds a decisive advantage. To turn secrets into advantage is to convert concealment into power. To transform what others do not know into a means of shaping outcomes, influencing decisions, and directing the behavior of allies and adversaries alike. Those who reveal too much, too soon, forfeit this potential, exposing themselves to manipulation, opposition, and loss of authority. In contrast, the one who carefully guards knowledge ensures that every revelation is deliberate, calculated, and instrumental. Secrets may manifest in many forms: undisclosed plans, hidden motives, confidential information, or even the simple restraint from revealing one's thoughts. Each has the capacity to shape interactions, provoke action, and influence perception. By maintaining control over such knowledge, the strategist can navigate complex social and political landscapes with flexibility, exploiting the ignorance or assumptions of others to achieve objectives without overt confrontation. The mastery of secrets also allows one to exploit the natural tendencies of human psychology. People, confronted with the unknown, seek clarity, reassurance, or advantage, often revealing their own intentions, fears, and ambitions in their efforts to compensate for uncertainty. Every question asked, every probe initiated, every assumption made by others can be guided and leveraged by the holder of secrets. In this way, concealment becomes not a passive act, but an active tool of manipulation and insight. Furthermore, secrets create opportunities for negotiation and leverage. When information is withheld, the individual gains bargaining power, controlling the timing, scope, and context of disclosure to maximize influence. The selective release of knowledge can sway decisions, shift alliances, and provoke action precisely when desired, ensuring that every advantage is realized and no opportunity wasted. Maintaining secrets also cultivates an aura of authority, wisdom, and competence. Those who seem to possess knowledge that others cannot access are respected, feared, or admired, and this perception enhances influence across all spheres of interaction. By projecting mastery over what is known and unknown, the strategist commands attention and shapes behavior without overt exertion of force. In addition, secrets serve as instruments of foresight. By retaining information that others do not possess, the observer can anticipate developments, predict responses, and maneuver preemptively. The hidden nature of knowledge allows one to act with agility, exploiting circumstances as they unfold, while rivals remain constrained by their incomplete understanding. Turning secrets into advantage also requires discernment and ethical calculation. Not all knowledge is immediately useful. Not every revelation should be exploited without consideration. The prudent strategist evaluates the potential impact of disclosure versus concealment, choosing the path that maximizes leverage, minimizes risk, and positions oneself for long-term gain. Ultima Thule. The art of turning secrets into advantage transforms concealment from a defensive act into an offensive strategy. It converts restraint into power, patience into foresight, and observation into actionable intelligence. Every hidden truth becomes a tool for manipulation, every undisclosed plan a weapon of influence, and every carefully maintained ambiguity an instrument of control. In this way, secrets cease to be mere information to be protected. They become the foundation upon which strategic dominance is built, ensuring that while others act in ignorance or assumption, the holder of secrets navigates the world with clarity, precision, and authority, converting concealment into opportunity, hesitation into leverage, and silence into the ultimate instrument of power. In the end, power does not belong to those who speak freely, who lay bare their thoughts and intentions, but to those who understand the quiet strength of concealment. Every secret preserved, every word measured, every gesture calculated becomes a weapon in the subtle wars of influence and control. When you reveal nothing, the world discloses itself, and in that revelation lies your advantage. Mastery of silence, observation, calculated transparency, leveraged curiosity, controlled information, and hidden knowledge transforms uncertainty into power, speculation into insight, and restraint into authority. Those who embrace these principles navigate the complexities of human behavior with precision, shaping reality while remaining unreadable, guiding outcomes while staying untouchable, and turning the natural inclinations of others into instruments of their own design. In this artful balance, one discovers the ultimate truth. The most formidable power is not in what is said, but in what is carefully concealed.